Congratulations, you're out of the state called Jessica Holden.
Hey, Jessica Holden. Good morning. Please come up to the witness stand. Please make yourself comfortable and let me know when you're ready to go. All right, please state your name for the record and raise your right hand.
And it's Jessica Beard Holcomb.
And you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Holcomb, what do you do for a living now?
I am a crime scene investigator and evidence technician at the Tiberias Police Department.
What do you do there on a day-to-day basis?
Mainly, I deal with the evidence sections, and then I am also on call for any crime scene.
How long have you worked in Tiberias PD?
Approximately a little over a year now.
Where did you work before that?
At the Lake County Sheriff's Office.
What did you do for the Lake County Sheriff's
I
Office?
was a crime scene investigator.
How long did you do that job for Lake County?
I was there approximately 12 years.
What, did you have the same general duties and responsibilities at Lake County as you do now with Tiberias Police Department?
At Lake County, my main focus was crime scene.
Can you describe your training and experience that allows you to do the job of a crime scene investigator?
I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I have a master's degree in criminal justice with a focus on forensics studies. On-the-job training for all the years I've been in this field. Just basically hands-on, multiple scenes. I think I've been to over 600 crime scenes throughout my career.
During the course of your training and experience in the seminars you've gone to, are you trained in how to collect different types of evidence?
Yes.
We direct your attention to March 9th and March 10th of 2018. Did you assist in the excavation of some human remains located at 9850 Sandy Pines Road, Claremont?
Yes.
Was crime scene investigator Jessica Wade also present and involved in the excavation process?
Yes.
I plan on asking Jessica Wade more detailed questions about the step-by-step excavation process and what was found. So I'm going to ask you some general questions about some evidence you actually collected, okay?
Okay.
During the excavation process, were human remains eventually discovered?
Yes.
Briefly, can you describe how you came about to locate those human remains?
At the end of the first day, we came across a humerus bone. It was underneath a fire pit. The fire pit had been broken up in order for us to be able to locate that first initial bone. The light was receding for that day, so we closed down the site, secured it, picked up the excavation the following morning, started digging again, and then came upon a blue tarp.
Yes. You mentioned the blue tarp?
Yes.
Showing you what's marked in states as an A for identification. You take a look at this item, look at it, recognize it. First of all, is that item sealed?
Yes.
And what do you mean by sealed?
It is in a brown paper bag sealed with evidence tape, and it has my handwriting on it describing what's inside.
Can you describe the process you go through when you actually find a piece of evidence, collect it, place it in the bag, and seal it?
So when we find anything of evidentiary value, we denote it. Basically, we photograph it, video anything to document it on scene. We put gloves on, we collect it in a manner that's deemed appropriate, and then we'll get the appropriate collection packaging, in this case a large brown bag, and then put it in the packaging, and then we'll seal it.
So this large brown bag that I just handed you, can you open it up, look inside, and tell me if you recognize the contents?
Yes.
Next to you. the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it during the excavation process.
Yes.
This time you're going to state who states A and the evidence is states 1.
Is there any objection? States A will be moved into evidence as states number 1 without objection.
You mentioned that item was taken back to the lab at a later time and processed further.
Yes.
What exactly, you said it was cut into quadrants?
Yes.
Explain what that process was.
Well, it's a relatively larger tarp, so we didn't lay it all out, document it. We did cut it into smaller quadrants in order to process it further. We looked at it from ALS, an alternate light source, and then we also processed it for latent fingerprints. We did find hair-like fibers on a couple of different quadrants that we collected, and then there was a defect that we found in one particular area that was of interest that we did cut away and collect as well from the tarp.
Speaking of that defect in the area cut away, may I
Yes.
approach again, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Showing us the market states as in B as in boy. Take a look at that item and tell me if you recognize it. Is it also sealed?
Yes, it is. With my handwriting on the envelope. Yes, that appears to be the piece that we cut away from the tarp.
Is it the same or substantially the same condition as when you processed it and cut it away?
Yes.
This time state we move B into evidence as states 2.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, states B will be moved into evidence as states number 2.
Now, during the excavation process, once you removed that blue tarp that you just looked at, what was found underneath?
So the human remains were found underneath. At the very beginning, we saw the skull. There was a green strap wrench around the remains as well, and there was also appeared to be like a piece of fabric, like a tag with an elastic band, almost like a fitted sheet. The elastic from a fitted sheet left on the remains as well.
Was a Tupperware used in this excavation process around this period of time when you're uncovering the remains?
Yes, there's Tupperware used to collect the smaller bones during the excavation process, and then as well for all the debris and the remnants that were collected near the remains.
Once you put those remnants that you just described into that Tupperware, did you collect that Tupperware, that green nylon strap, as well as that piece of elastic?
Yes.
May I approach you, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Showing what the market states to do. E. Is this item also sealed?
Yes.
You can open it up, take a look, and tell me if you recognize the contents. What's inside?
The strap, yes. Tupperware and the nylon.
Are those items the same, substantially the same condition as when you collected them during the excavation process?
Yes.
This time state we move E into evidence in stage 3.
Any objection? Without objection, states E will be moved into evidence as states number 3.
boxers and brown or black shorts.
And did you collect those clothing items as well?
Yes.
Can you explain how you collected those items?
So when the remains were removed from the ground, the medical examiner, the forensic investigator, and Dr. Sutton, they were basically in control of the remains. They were basically had sheets laid out where they were identifying certain bones and trying to lay out what pieces were there. So during that process, they were taking the bones and kind of sorting them out, and then they were taking the clothing, and we had the bags and whatnot for collection waiting. So they would just drop the clothing in the bags, and then we would take the bags and seal them.
Showing us the market states exhibit D as in dog. You mentioned you collected some boxers and some shorts.
Yes.
Can you take a look at that item and tell me if you recognize it?
The boxers and the Under Armour black shorts.
Are those items in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected them?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay, I'm sorry. At this time, around the state with the states exhibit D as in dog, and evidence is state 4.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, states exhibit D will be moved into evidence of states number 4. Thank you.
You also mentioned some socks were collected, showing you states exhibit C. Can you take a look at that and tell me if you recognize it? Are they in the same condition as when you collected them?
Yes.
Time statement moves C into evidence in states 5.
Without objection, state C will be admitted into evidence as states number 5.
You mentioned earlier there was a fire pit.
Yes.
How far was that fire pit away from the location where the remains were found?
The remains were found almost directly under the fire pit.
Was the fire pit broken up during the excavation process?
Yes.
Did you examine that fire pit?
Yes.
Did you locate anything, a piece of flooring in that fire pit?
Yes.
Describe that.
It's a piece of what appeared to be laminate flooring, like in a wooden parquet design.
Did you collect that piece of evidence?
Yes.
Showing was marked as State's Exhibit F as in frame. You recognize that item?
This is my handwriting on the front of the bag.
Like the other items, is that also sealed?
It is.
6.
Any objection? States F will be moved into evidence as states number 6. Without objection.
I direct your attention to later on in the afternoon on March 10th of 2018. Did you make contact with a man named Douglas Shaver?
Yes, I did.
Where?
Out front on the street from the residence.
In front of the same property and residence that you have been excavating?
Yes.
And how did that come about? How did it come that you had contact with Mr. Shaver?
I was informed by one of the detectives that he was out front.
And who was Douglas Shaver in relation to Michael Shaver?
His father.
All right. Did you take a photograph of Mr. Shaver when you made contact with him?
I did.
Showing those marked states exhibit H for identification. You recognize the person in that photograph?
Yes, that's that. Yes, I took that photograph.
This is fairly inaccurately depict what Doug Shaver looked like at the time.
Yes.
This time state will move H into evidence as states 7, I believe.
Yes, sir, state 7. Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, states H will be admitted into evidence as states number 7.
Did you collect any evidence from Mr. Douglas Shaver?
Yes.
What did you collect?
I did fecal swabs.
And what is a buccal swab?
So those swabs are taken for identification purposes. It's basically swabs taken from the interior lining of the cheek.
And how do you go about doing it? What do you use to take the swab?
Basically just 2 swabs, gloves on, take the swabs, rotate the swab around the inner lining of the cheek, put them in a swab box, and then I seal it in an envelope.
Is the swab kind of like a Q-tip?
Yes.
Was Mr. Douglas Shaver cooperative with that procedure?
Yes.
And once you collected those swabs from Mr. Douglas Shaver's cheeks, what did you do with the actual swabs?
I put them in an envelope, sealed them, and locked them in my vehicle for just collection purposes, and then took them back to the lab.
Approach me, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Showing you states exhibit G for identification. Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
It has my handwriting on the envelope, and it's sealed.
Inside, tell me to recognize the contents.
Yes, this is the swab box that I wrote out with the swabs inside.
And are those in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected them from Mr. Douglas Shaver?
Yes.
This time state will move G into evidence as states 8.
Any objection? Without objection, states G will be moved into evidence as states number 8.
Were those swabs that you collected from Mr. Douglas Shaver sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for future analysis?
Yes.
Did you have any involvement in that actual analysis done at Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
No.
Did everything you testified to today occur in Lake County?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. No other questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Wiggs.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Yes, sir.
Officer, you go by deputy or officer, ma'am?
I'm not sworn, so investigator is fine.
Okay. Have you ever been a sworn law enforcement officer?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Could you investigate crimes?
I do.
Just let me ask one question, please. I don't want you to interrupt nobody, if you would, please. Is there a reason you left the Lake County Sheriff's Office?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
All right, come on up for sideline. All right, please proceed.
Going to various police department, was that a promotion?
And swords, yes.
Okay. Did you receive more pay over there?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
Okay. Ma'am, do you have anything that has affected your ability to perform your functions?
No.
Okay. Have any health reasons?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
When did you get involved in this case?
When I was given the call that I needed to respond.
Okay. Who called you?
I'd have to refer to my report, but I believe that we were told that there was a staging area the day before and that we had to proceed to the staging area. So I knew that we had to report to the staging area, so we all showed up there. The search warrant was supposed to be given that day, and then we all were supposed to proceed to the property.
Okay. Let's talk about some of your testimony. You testified you found a blue tarp, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you know where that blue tarp came from?
The ground?
Okay. Do you know who manufactured that blue tarp?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything to see who had? Not a trick question. Did you do anything in your investigation to see who manufactured that tarp?
I don't believe there was a tag on it, or if there was, it wasn't legible. No.
Okay. So I think that would be a no, correct?
That's what I just said, sir. No.
Okay. Now, did you find on that tarp any DNA associated with Laurie Shaver?
I personally didn't know.
Okay. Do you know if anybody did?
No.
Okay. Did you find any, or do you know if anybody found any blood on that tarp associated with Laurie Shaver?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Do you know, you spoke about some hairs that were found
Yes.
within your investigation. Do you know if anybody was able to link up any hair within that investigation, within the evidence that you collected that could be linked to Laurie Shaver?
I collected it. I don't know what the results were.
Okay. There was a strap you testified
Yes.
about, correct? Could you describe the strap?
It was a green nylon strap, a strap wrench that one can kind of winch back and forth to tighten.
Okay, a strap wrench, correct? Is this used to tighten straps that you may use on a vehicle or a boat?
A tie down, something like that, yes.
Okay. Did you see a vehicle that in any manner you could link it had come out of?
You could use it for any type of vehicles or
Okay.
any application, but they're very common.
Okay. In your investigation, whatever you did, other than what you've testified to, were you able to link that strap to the residence of Laurie Shaver?
My job would be to collect it, so you'd have to ask my detectives.
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge whether or not that wrench or any of the straps could be connected to the residence of Laurie Shaver?
No.
There was some flooring you spoke about.
Yes.
Okay. Would you describe the flooring?
Like I said earlier, it was a piece of wooden flooring, a parquet design.
Okay. Could that be linked to Laurie Shaver to your personal knowledge?
I was informed that there had been remodeling done. Therefore, I collected it on scene.
And who did the remodeling?
I was informed that Laurie did the remodeling.
Okay. Do you know if anybody else did any remodeling on that scene?
No.
Okay. And you showed us you moved through you into evidence a photo of Doug Shaver.
Yes.
Correct? You know where Mr. Shaver resides?
It was in another state.
Okay. And you were at the scene that Mr. Shaver, he didn't just surreptitiously show up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Somebody from law enforcement had contacted Mr. Shaver, correct?
Correct.
Was Mr. Shaver advised that y'all wanted your office wanted